It's already August and many of you will be flying out to US to start your fall semester there. I also flew to Chicago to attend UIUC sometime in August and I know what it feels like. So today what I want to talk about is some just heart-to-heart advice for people who are heading to US for the first time to begin their studies, and some tips to just keep in mind to not just be a grad student but a happy grad student. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're liking the video so far, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Now I want to keep this video short, so here's my unsolicited but also unfiltered advice for people who are heading to study abroad this fall. And the first thing that I want to talk about is never convert dollar to rupee when you are buying food, otherwise you will starve yourself to death. So I remember the first meal I ordered in US was a Subway sandwich, and back then India did not have Subway, so this was my first time ordering it. So they started asking all the question, what veggies do you put inside, what sauces do you want, etc. I had no clue, so I ordered something and it turned out pretty crappy, and I think I probably paid like $5 or something for it. At that rate it was like around, let's say, 300 rupee, right? And then I'm thinking like, oh my god, I have spent 300 rupees on this shitty sandwich and I cannot do this every single day, you know. So that's what happens now. If you order a Subway sandwich, it will probably be around $8, which is like 640 rupees, and you're thinking, if I have to eat twice a day outside and I have to spend like 600 or 700 on a meal and in the end get something like this, then it's going to like look really expensive to you. And then you will start thinking of ways on, like, you know, skipping out on meals, maybe just eat something quick and cheap like fries and Coke or brownies and just fill yourself up. So that is a bad idea. Don't fall into that. The best case scenario is that you start cooking at home itself and you don't have to eat out as much, but sometimes you will have to, and at that time please stop looking at the price and order something which is healthy, which you will enjoy eating. And one of the habits that I luckily did not pick up in US was how much soda these guys drink along with every single meal. So like, don't go for that. And like, you know, I used to always be happy with a glass of water. They will give you a weird look sometimes, especially I've heard this in Europe, but like, you know, don't feel pressurized. Drinking soda with every meal is not a good option. So choose something healthy, because you're going to make this money back, but that bad health is going to be much harder to fix. Okay, so please stop converting dollar to rupee and eat healthily when you are a grad student. Second thing is, do not use sir or ma'am in US. I know you're trying to do it out of respect, and that is what we are habituated to in India, but that is not really the custom in US, and people prefer to be called either formally using Mr. and their last name. Professors, you can call Professor Smith, so professor last name, doctor last name, and once you get on some good terms with them, you are on a good rapport with them, you can even start calling them by their first names. So that is more customary than like calling sir or ma'am. That really throws some of them out. And over the time, I think I started embracing that for myself as well. So some of my clients start calling me ma'am in the beginning, and I request them that just like, you know, please call me Nistha. I find it more casual and also like, you know, more friendly. So I prefer being called Nistha, and that same thing goes in US. So that's where I've picked it from. So yes, avoid calling sir or ma'am. It's nothing disrespectful. They don't think that if you're calling them by name it's disrespectful. That is the custom there. Now let's talk business. So third point is, career fairs are going to start in your fall semester, the first semester itself. So sometimes as early as in September itself, right? So please get into your job hunt mode ASAP. Okay, you might think you have time, but you really don't. Things will start pretty soon, and by the time you're settled down, you're like, you know, picking up on your assignments, understanding the courses you're taking, getting comfortable living there, the career fairs will start, and then there's hardly any time to prepare for job interviews. We have talked about this in much more detail in the internship and job hunt masterclass, which is 5 or 6 hours long and goes into the depth of how to find that dream internship or job in US. So it can be of help to you if you are feeling underconfident, and if you don't know how to get started on these things, then yes, the link link is in the description box. Check it out. But it's super crucial. There is not going to be much time after this, after once you reach US. So make sure you start on that job hunt mode as soon as possible. Number 4, some of you may still have not found funding for your masters and might be panicking. But like, remember, half of my clients and even I found my assistantships after landing in the grad school. So now is the time. Take out printouts of your resume. It should look good. It should be formatted correctly, and it should be absolutely perfect. Take the printouts, go meet some professors if you have some research kind of profile, and meet your academic counselor in your department. But even if that does not work out, you can always go and knock the doors at all the departments. So you can find an assistantship in any department within your university. So keep doing this until you find that assistantship or on-campus job. Okay, again, we have talked about this in much more detail in our funding masterclass with detailed tips and case studies of people who were able to find such funding. So if you are clueless how to get started about that, do check it out. I'll again leave the link in the description box below. 5th thing I would say is prepare yourself for some culture shocks and try not to judge other cultures. Okay, so what happens is we have this rigid mindset of what is right or wrong, what is good, what is evil, based on our own upbringing and conditioning in India. But people in other countries live very, very differently. So I remember the first time I was sitting in the class and a student came in and he just sprawled back on his chair and he put his feet up on the desk while the professor was teaching. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And professor did not even blink. He continued teaching. He did not care. And I would see this time and time again in US. So it was very different from what I was used to in India, where it's a blasphemy if you do this in the classroom and professors get really, really offended. But it's different in US. So this is just one example. Similarly, I did not used to drink when I went to US, and then I saw people getting really drunk in the pubs and throwing out, and it would make me feel disgusted initially, and I would try to judge those people. But eventually I realized that it's just their version of fun, and it does not mean that you have to do it, but it means that start getting comfortable and start accepting different ways of life. So it's not about being right or wrong, it's just different value systems, different belief systems, and different childhood conditioning. Some of them would call their relatives by first name instead of using uncle, aunt, or showing overt respect to their parents, and all these might look very, very weird to you, but that's just their way of living. So eventually you come to terms with how people are living differently there. So instead of judging and keeping your distance and painting somebody good or evil or right or wrong, try to just open your mind to this, how people live in different parts of the world. And it's okay, you don't have to do the same, but you have to be okay around those people. Okay, otherwise you will just end up making yourself miserable if you're constantly judging them. And I feel that once you put your beliefs aside and open-mindedly accept different cultures and try to understand them, it's actually pretty interesting, and that's the true power of studying abroad for me. 6th thing I would say is mingle with non-Indians too. I see sometimes people making this mistake that they will always hang out with Indian friends only, and even if somebody is from their region in India, so Delhiites hanging out with Delhiites only, Gujarati people hanging out with Gujaratis only, and same with Telugu people. But I feel that defeats the whole point of studying abroad, because you could have gotten the education in India too. The whole reason you went to a different country is also to expose yourself to different cultures, different way of thinking, and what's out there, right? So I really made some good friends with non-Indians during my MS and MBA days, and I started to really admire their intellect and some of their ways of thinking. So I was learning from them, and probably they were learning from me as well. So this is a very powerful thing about studying abroad. If you restrict yourself to Indian circles only, then you miss out on that crucial aspect. So I feel, don't make that mistake and go and make friends with other nationalities also, and they can this is a great networking thing as well. But for personal growth, I think people who do this are much more mature and have an open-mindedness than people who just stick out in their communities alone. And last point, I cannot emphasize this enough, do travel a lot in your school days. You are going to get long vacations, spring breaks, summer breaks. So even apart from your internship, you will get good amount of time when you can go on road trips with your friend, and this time is not going to come back. Once you start working, you have to take vacation, and you will have only a limited vacation days which you want to spend coming back to India, etc. So I really wish I had made more time for doing traveling during my master's days, because that is apparently the best time. And people think it's super expensive, but if you are let's say if you're on assistantship or something, you have some kind of part-time jobs or something, you can do cheap trips as well. But that time spent with your friend is definitely going to be one you remember for the lifetime. So do that California US1 route. I think it's very scenic. Do a cross country road trip. This is the best time to do all those things. So yes, so these are some of the things I wish I had done more of when I was a first semester student. Hope this helps. And other than that, I'm going to just say have a blast. This is probably going to be the best time of your life. It was for me. I still remember those days very fondly. So this, the best time of your life is coming up. Make the most of it. Don't spend time just complaining and cribbing about what you don't have. Make the most of what you do get there and try to enjoy. Tell me what else would you like us to post in the comment box below, and I will see you guys next week with a fresh new video. Take care. Bye bye.